Yeah, so 8 years old, going to the movie theater to see Attack of the Clones. It was very cool. I was very caught up in like the romance of Anakin and Padme. But I would say like Anakin specifically when he's, in the light or at least battling and struggling against the dark side. And then Padme as like a handmaiden slash senator are my two favorite. My signed Hayden Funko Pop that we were just talking about.
Hey guys, it's Jedi Lex, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest. I have Andrea from the Padawan Chronicles channel. So, how are you doing today?
So good. Yeah, this is exciting. Thanks for having me on.
It is. It's very exciting. I know that we've bonded recently over Lorcana, and I
Yes.
was like, you know what? I gotta have her on. So I'm glad that we're finally
Uh,
sitting down to do this.
yeah, and I have to teach you. There's another trading card game I've gotten into. It's Star Wars Unlimited.
Oh,
Uh, I gotta
another
teach you.
slippery slope.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun though. It's so
I
fun
know.
because it's like you have one leader card and it's like one character, so you can have like Grievous or Anakin or Ahsoka, and your whole deck is designed around that leader card. It's very, very cool.
Interesting. I'll have to look into
Yeah.
that now. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, and where people can find you?
Sure. So I am on YouTube primarily. I try to do other social media as well. I'm just not as good at being present on like Instagram, TikTok, etc. I'm on there, but just not super active. So I'm most frequently on YouTube. I like to do live streams and I post the occasional video. Recently, I've been doing reactions to Clone Wars because I've been on a long, long journey to watch Clone Wars for a while. So working on that and posting reactions to that. I just finished watching the Umbara arc, with Pong
Oh.
Krell.
Mm-hmm.
That was a journey. I actually really enjoyed it because it feels like I'm starting to get a feel for like the clones more. And I feel like I wasn't really getting a ton of clones from Clone Wars
Yeah.
previously, but their personalities are starting to shine. So I'm liking it. So yeah, doing some of those. I've been watching Skeleton Crew, but I haven't been doing reactions for that because it's just, I don't know, it's a lot to like try to react to two things at the same time. And I really am trying to make headway on Clone Wars. But I've been doing recap discussions after every Skeleton Crew episode, which I hope we're talking about Skeleton Crew today. I've been really enjoying the show. What else? I've been trying to do collection stuff, even though I'm trying to slow down on what I buy because I've been out of space for stuff for a little while. Um, I need to get like I need to buy like a warehouse or something if I'm gonna keep growing every single one of my collections. But yeah, it's just a fun time. So I'm mostly on YouTube at Padawan Chronicles.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think space is definitely a collector's worst enemy, and I've definitely been a little bit more choosy, I guess, now that I've moved about my collection and the pieces and kind of like what I want my like the focus of my collection to be. So that's been fun, but I definitely have also like kind of slowed down on what I've been buying and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah, especially after you've filled in a lot of the holes in your collection. Like right now, I feel like I have a lot of Funko Pops. So like when new ones come out, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I have something kind of similar or already have that character. I feel like most of the Funko Pops that I'm looking to buy now are going to be prequels because we just still don't have a ton of those. So when like, for example, this year when the Phantom Menace Funko Pops came out, I had to buy, I think I bought pretty much all of them except for the little Annie because I already had a little Annie Funko Pop.
Hmm.
But I'm like, all of those were stuff I didn't already have. So like that kind of stuff, like if they do new like Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones pops, I'm like, yes, that I need. But everything else, I'm like, I pretty much have something similar.
Yeah, that's how I've been feeling lately, especially like with Funko in particular, is that they're using like a lot of the same molds and stuff like that. And I like kind of look at what I have and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like I was trying at one point to just get like any Funko I could get my hands on. And then it kind of
Same.
reached a point where I was like, oh, this is getting a little out of hand. Like I need to kind of,
Yeah.
reel it in and really kind of focus. So I've definitely also been trying to kind of get my prequel collection together because that's what I grew up
Yeah.
on. That's like where my
Hmm.
love for Star Wars started. So I've been trying to do like some of the prequel pops, which I've done pretty well with. But now I've also been trying to get some like of the older Lego sets that I used to have when I was younger. So I'm trying to like recollect those because of course I got rid of them
Nice.
and I was too cool
Oh
for them.
no.
So now I'm trying to kind of reclaim like some of those older Lego sets and stuff like that. But I'm hoping with the 25th, it is the 25th anniversary, right, of Revenge of the Sith.
Is it? I thought it
So,
was just the
or is it the
25th
20th?
for. I think it's more. Or no, wait, it has to be less. I was gonna say, hang on, that's not how time works. I'm like, I think Phantom Menace we just celebrated 25 years, so for, obviously Revenge of the Sith has to be less. That's a good question. Which anniversary are we approaching for
Oh,
Revenge
it's
of the Sith?
the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Okay, I was a little close but not
Yeah,
close. But I'm hoping that like with the 20th anniversary coming around the corner, like just like they did with Phantom Menace, like hopefully we'll get some Revenge of the Sith pops. I
I
think
hope
that
they
would
go
be
all
really
out.
cool.
I really hope they're planning it now because I think we were kind of underwhelmed with like, didn't we have an Attack of the Clones anniversary this last year? Like 2024, and it was kind of like underwhelming, or maybe it was a year before, I don't know, but I feel like we had an anniversary that like Funko didn't really like supply, and it was kind of sad.
Yeah, it seems to be Funko's like track record, but I don't know. I'm hoping that we get some cool ones. I think there are a bunch of pops that I would love to see made, so fingers crossed that it'll be cool because I did like the Phantom Menace pops that they came out with this year, so
Yeah,
I'm hoping
me too.
maybe something of that caliber but with Revenge of the Sith. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see more movie moments. Like, I don't know why they did like tons of movie moments for like A New Hope and like just the original trilogy. Like, I have several of them. If you look behind me, like I have like Luke versus Vader. What else? It's not
Dagobah.
really a movie moment. What else? Oh, the yeah, this one that I painted from Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They did that, but I need to see. I want to see movie moments for the prequels.
Yeah, that would be. I would like that because I think the main one that I really want was like the Anakin or Darth Vader versus Obi Wan, but
And
I can't
Mustafar,
justify the price,
so
unfortunately.
expensive.
So
I
I
know.
would love to see like movie moments made because they do seem to like kind of revamp some of the stuff that they do, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess
Yeah,
we'll have to wait and
remains
see.
to be seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start with my first question: Is what kind of sparked your love of Star Wars?
Ooh, yeah, fun question. I was on Star Wars Gazer recently, so I'm getting like deja vu, like I answered this on there too. But my dad primarily exposed us, me and my brothers, to Star Wars as kids, like watching the original trilogy reruns. But primarily, what got me into it personally and what got me invested was seeing the prequels as a very young kid because I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 1995. So I was like, 6, 7 when I saw like Attack of the Clones in theaters. And wait, was 6 or I guess I'm closer. How much time was between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones? It was a bit of time, wasn't it?
Think it was 99 was Phantom Menace, and I
Yes.
think 2003 was Attack of the Clones
Okay, so I was like 8.
ish. And then I think Revenge of the Sith was '05. Well, it'd have to be 5 because it's the 20th anniversary. So yeah, 2005, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A few years in between.
Yeah. Yeah, so 8 years old, going to the movie theater to see Attack of the Clones. It was very cool. I was very caught up in like the romance of Anakin and Padme, and I remember seeing the picnic scene in theaters, and I also distinctly remember seeing the Geonosis part where they're in the droid factory,
Hmm.
and the lava, and like Padme falls into like the thing, and then C3PO and R2 are running around being silly, and then the fight that breaks out, and then the clones are all like, "We're here," It was just very like exciting to see in theaters as a kid. So I would say my dad was like the person that introduced me to Star Wars, but the prequels are what hooked me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you because my dad, I guess I have to blame for my obsession with Star Wars, but
Yeah.
it's a good thing, and hopefully you still bond with your dad over Star Wars. I feel like
Yeah.
that's been like a huge part of me and my dad's relationship is like talking about Star Wars, and like anytime a new show comes out, like I'll get to talk to them, and like they're not as into it as I am, but like I'll get to talk to him about like lore and if they have any questions about it. Like Ahsoka, it was so fun like talking to him about like Rebels and stuff because he doesn't watch like the animated. But he was like, "Who's
Yeah,
this
my neither
person?
does.
Who's
Yeah.
Ahsoka? Who's Kanan?" I was like, "Oh,
Who's Kanan?
don't
Yeah.
don't even get me started because we're gonna go down a rabbit hole." So it's been fun to like
Yeah.
kind of bond with him over Star Wars, and like we seem to have similar opinions about it, which I think is fun. So.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I'm in the same boat. I feel like well, my dad's never been much of a collector, and I feel like collecting really gets you into the lore a bit more
Mhm.
because if you see this TVC figure for this obscure character that they don't even name in the movie, like just through collecting, you learn a little bit more about them. So, and my dad isn't like hugely knowledgeable encyclopedia wise on like this is this planet and this is that system and this is that starship. And
Mhm.
so I've never been that way either. I think I kind of took after him and like, well, the details don't matter as much. But the overall story and like the characters, like the main characters that we know and love are like the most important. So as I've gotten older and started making my own money and I started collecting stuff, I've been getting more and more into the lore, but I feel like I'm still catching up with a lot of those like details. Like you and I have a friend in common in JT, and like he has like encyclopedic knowledge of like every droid and every starship and every planet. And I've just never been that kind of fan, but it's been fun like learning a lot of those things and a lot of like legend stuff that I'd never heard of before. And I think when I first started out, I that's why I felt like Padawan Chronicles made sense for the name of my channel because I my channel was born out of a love for Star Wars, but the knowledge hasn't always been there, and a lot of the animated series I'm like new to, so it's like I love this thing at its core and it's amazing, but I feel like I have a lot to learn still in terms of like the lore and the legends. So it makes sense. I'm like, I love it, but also I'm learning, so hence the Padawan.
No, I totally get it. I feel like Star Wars as a whole, like there's just a general love for it, but then you can like just peel back layer after layer of lore and different stories
Yeah.
and like I didn't really even until recently get into like reading the comics and the books, like probably within the
Hmm.
last like year I got into the comics and then maybe the past few months I've been reading some of the books and I was like, man, like there's just so much to learn
There
and
is.
read and then on top
Hmm.
of that, we're getting new content. So there's like stuff to learn about that, like through Skeleton Crew and the different shows. So there really is like so much to learn. And it's cool too that, through content creating, we've been able to like make friends and they're very knowledgeable about certain aspects. So it's cool when they can teach you and talk to you about certain things. So that way you don't
Yeah.
have to be an expert in everything, but you can have like
Yeah.
knowledgeable conversations with others who are like very well versed in that stuff. Like I know JT's big into the comics.
Hmm.
So that's cool when people have like the specifics that they're into, but just as a whole, we have a love for Star Wars. Like that's just a common.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what's at the heart of it. And I still want to aspire to be an expert or like a
Yeah.
Jedi master. Like I'm happy being like a forever Padawan, and exploring all these different avenues. But I agree with you. It's been super fun, and I feel like there's so much stuff I've been exposed to that I never would have been if I didn't do the channel. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
I I was always kind of resistant to watching Clone Wars because in my mind it's like it's not the Star Wars I know and love. It's a little different. Like the voice actors are don't necessarily well, Obi-Wan, James Arnold Taylor does a great job of sounding like Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan,
Hmm.
but Matt Lanter doesn't necessarily sound like Hayden. So I was very resistant in the beginning, like, this isn't Anakin, but you kind of learn to appreciate it for what it is. But I don't know if I ever would have pushed myself to watch Clone Wars if it weren't for the channel and everyone like telling me how amazing it is and like, no, like you got to push through the first two seasons and you're gonna love it. And I'm feeling that more recently after watching the Umbara arc. Like, okay, I feel like I'm kind of getting into the swing of Clone Wars and what it's about. So I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, Clone Wars, I used to watch it like here and there when it would just be like on TV when I was younger. And it wasn't until I think during COVID I like finally sat down and like just binged the whole all 7 seasons. And I was like, man, like this is not what I remembered, but it was what I remembered like in a weird way, but I think because I was older and had a little bit more knowledge of Star Wars, like I was able to pick up on some things that like I just wasn't when I was younger. So it was like very interesting, I guess, to kind of see the clones and their story, and you kind of learn a little bit more about Anakin and Padme and like the main characters that we know and love, and then some. So it's I love Clone Wars. I think it's great. Have you watched Rebels?
Yeah, I've watched all of
Okay.
Rebels. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm so glad I did because I was able to enjoy the Ahsoka show so much more as a result. Well, I was able to enjoy Ahsoka as a character in general because of what
Hmm.
I've seen in Clone Wars and seeing her younger self, and then seeing her again in Rebels. But then there's also just a lot of characters in the Ahsoka show that were like you had to have watched Rebels to enjoy it. So I'm really glad I watched Rebels when I did. And it's such a fun show. I don't know, just like the whole family that they build on Rebels with like Zeb and Kanan, who is so cool, and Hera, who's like the best space mom, and Sabine, who is really cool. I don't know. I kind of. How do you feel about Sabine in terms of like her character development in the Ahsoka show?
So I was a little bit disappointed at first, but then I kind of like had to like step back, I think, and I was like, you know what? If all of this had happened to me, I would probably be acting similarly. But I was like, it's not the Sabine that we knew and loved. Like, she wasn't gung
Yeah.
ho, like, quirky, all that kind of good stuff. But she had also grown up a little bit. She had stuff happen to her. She lost Ezra. So I think, just a lot of stuff had happened that kind of changed her portrayal, I guess you could say, in Ahsoka. But she kind of grew on me. I don't know how I feel about her being a Jedi, but I believe the Force is in everyone, I think, to an extent. But I don't know. I mean, the character grew on me, but she definitely wasn't like my favorite character in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. It really it felt disconnected from animated show Sabine. Um, which is fine. Like you said, a lot of stuff happened to her. But I'm hoping that in Ahsoka season 2, we get a little bit more of like the little like the spark and the playfulness that we got from like animated show Sabine. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great show. So yes, to answer your question, I have seen Rebels.
Okay. That's good. And so far, with your Clone Wars experience, who would you say your favorite clone is?
Oh my gosh, I was just like going back in my head about this because okay, so the Umbara arc features a lot of Rex and it also
Mhm.
features a lot of Five, and it really highlights how different they are as like people.
Yeah.
Which Rex kind of learns from Five and from that arc, like okay, good soldiers follow orders, but also we're not droids. We're human, at
Hmm.
the end of the day. So we can see things as like right and wrong, and we have a moral obligation, to the cause, but also to ourselves a little bit if we know that something's wrong. And Fives was very much against, Pong Krell pretty much from the beginning, whereas Rex was like, I don't love this guy and I don't love his strategy, and I'm gonna push back a little bit, but at the end of the day, I have to do what he says. So it was really interesting. I don't know, between them, I guess I've been exposed to both of those most now. Hard Case was in the Ubar arc, and I'm not gonna watch your face as I say this because I don't want any spoilers. But I don't know how long Hard Case is gonna be in there. I kind of feel like, oh no, wait, Hard Case died, didn't he? In the Umbara arc, he kind of sacrificed himself, didn't he? And I thought he was going to like when that started. So never mind. Do you remember Hard Case from the Umbara arc?
I would have to. It's been a minute since I've watched it. I'm probably due for like a rewatch, but I know like the main like Five, Wolf, like
I
Rex, all
haven't
of them.
seen
But
tons of yeah, I haven't seen
yeah,
tons of Wolf yet. But no, actually Hard Case did die, R.I.P. But in the beginning of the Umbara arc, I was like, Hard Case? I never hear anyone talking about Hard Case. I feel like he's gonna die. And then he did, so
yeah.
spoiler alert.
Well, yeah. There's definitely. I think it was tough because with the prequels, we don't know too much about the clones. Like, we just kind of thought they're mirror images of one another. Like, they just do as they're told, blah, blah, blah. But then in Clone Wars, I feel like you really kind of get to learn about their individuality. And, like, while they're learning about it, you're learning about it and you're watching them, like, find themselves and their values and stuff like that. So I always thought that was cool. I
Yeah,
think Rex is definitely a fan favorite, but just because I think he's, front and center for the majority of it, but I
yeah.
kind of really like 99.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
seen have you gone to
I
that? I don't know where that falls,
It
where that
is. It's
part.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
So,
you talking about the really sad part?
yeah, the old
Yeah.
old clone that's like kind of just like
Uh,
mopping the decks and stuff. I always liked his character, but I do like Fives a lot.
I I like him too. I thought it was, really sad. Spoiler alert.
We're just filled with spoilers today, but I
Yeah,
hope everyone has watched Clone
I
Wars.
know. Don't be like me. Please have watched Clone Wars before
Well,
before
you're
this.
getting through it. You're getting through it, so
Yeah, we're
that's
doing our
all that
best.
matters.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But if I had to pick between Rex and Fives at this moment, I would probably pick Rex just because I relate to him most in terms of like wanting to like do your job correctly, like his purpose is to be a soldier and he wants to be the best soldier he can. Whereas like Fives kind of follows his heart a little bit more, and I probably relate more to Rex. But I guess we'll have to finish Clone Wars to decide who my favorite clone is. But you're right, we do get a lot more. So actually, before Clone Wars, I kind of I kind of had a more negative opinion of the clones because you just kind of see them turn against the Jedi. And Revenge of the Sith does not mention inhibitor chips at all. Like, you really don't get any of that context in just watching the prequels. But with the shows, you kind of learn that they're also victims of Order 66,
Hmm.
just as much as like the Jedi that they persecute. So it's giving me a more well-rounded picture of the clones and kind of what happened to them with like, turning against the Republic.
No, 100% perfectly said. Because, yeah, when watching it, I was like, oh, like the clones, blah, blah, blah. And then they just kill all the Jedi. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
like how
like this
could
is,
they?
yeah, like this is
Yeah.
crazy. But then you
Yeah.
watch Clone Wars and you really kind of get to understand like what they've gone through, see them on the different missions, see them grow like as people. Because even though they're clones, I feel like they're so different in their own ways. So that was fun. But then I watched like the prequels again and I'm like, oh, well, they still killed the Jedi. So it's definitely tough,
Yeah.
but
But it was involuntary,
it
right?
was. It
So
was. For the
you
most
can't
part. Yeah.
really, right. Obviously, I'm sure there were clones that were kind of like bad to begin with, but I don't know, like they they didn't even like it was something in their brain that just like switched off and like I guess they didn't mean to, it was they were just kind of built that way. So it's been interesting after all this time kind of being exposed to that side of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yep. But I feel like I know the answer to this next question, but who would you say your favorite character is?
So it's an equal kind of a tie between Padme and Anakin.
Okay.
Love them
Okay.
both. Yeah. And they both kind of have, well, Padme kind of has her alter ego in like Queen Amidala. Like it's her, but it's not her. Like she puts on an accent. She's more of a symbol, for Naboo, like kind of just more a figurehead. And then she really comes into her own as a senator and kind of like what she wants to see and the change that she wants to see in the galaxy. She can kind of, be more proactive. So I almost think of them as different characters. Like we have Queen Amidala, right? And then Padme when she's disguised as a handmaiden, and then later when she becomes a senator. And then we have Anakin, who also kind of breaks out into two characters because we have like light side Anakin and dark side, Darth Vader. So I kind of think of them as separate characters too. But I would say like Anakin specifically when he's, in the light or at least battling and struggling against the dark side, and then Padme as like a handmaiden slash senator are my two favorite.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess like the first few times I remember watching, and I always thought Queen Amidala and Padme were like separate people. Like I had no idea that they
Mhm.
were the same person. And then I remember having like the revelation of learning that they were the same person. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that makes sense, but that's crazy. So I feel like looking at them though as two different people, like when I used to, like they were two different people. Like they clearly have different like characteristics and like how they're
Hmm.
portrayed by the same person. Like I think Natalie Portman's a phenomenal actress. Would love to meet her. Please go to Japan Celebration.
I
But
know, I
anyways,
wish, yes.
I always was like, wow, like she did really do a great job. And like enough to make me realize that they weren't the same person, like, or to think they weren't
Hmm.
the same person, but then realize that they are. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Anakin, I always kind of just associate him and Darth Vader as like two different characters. They're the same
Yeah.
person, but they're two different people.
Exactly. And it's so fun to have seen him at the end of the Kenobi show kind of, switching back and forth between them
Yes.
because they really are like different people and you see that in like his the way his eye color changes
Mm-hmm.
and he has two different voices even like one moment he sounds like Hayden, the next he sounds like Darth Vader. And like when he says like Anakin is dead, it's because he really is. Like he really did die, on Mustafar and like Darth Vader was, born. So I consider them two different characters as well. So like I don't know. If you say your favorite character is Darth Vader, I don't take that to mean your favorite character is also Anakin. You kind of, they can be both. I guess it could be a tie between the two, but they're kind of like different people at the end of the day. But no, Padme's great. I feel like she doesn't get as much recognition, or if she does, it's like for her looks, because she's very iconic and her outfits
Mm-hmm.
and her hair is awesome. But I feel like she doesn't get enough recognition for like her heart, and she is someone that lives and dies by her planet. Like she loves Naboo, she loves the people, and we really get to see that with her as a senator and the things that she wants to do for her home planet and the galaxy as well. But at the end of the day, everything she does is out of a love for Naboo, which is, really lovely to see. So really love her. And then Anakin is such a fun Padawan. Like he's also kind of just a very individual, like thinker. He wants to do the Jedi Order thing, but at the same time, he's a very passionate person and wants to like follow his heart and his intuition. And he's a little a little arrogant, like deep down, he's like, all these guys are great Jedi's, but deep down, I really know I'm kind of the best, which is kind of it like just looks really funny when you see him in the role of a student. So he's so fun, but yeah, I love them both.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a big Padme fan, do you have well, I guess Padme or Queen Amidala, do you have a favorite outfit? Because I know that's like a big
Ooh.
deal.
Let's see. Let's see. I'm looking at my pin board, which I also sent you pictures of.
Mhm.
But I'm like looking at my pin board for inspiration. Um, hmm. I really like a lot of her in disguise outfits. Like I love the velvet, like handmaiden, like battle, like the burgundy one with like the
Mhm.
hair and the silver blaster. That one's really cool. I really like when she's in disguise at the beginning of Attack of the Clones, and like part of her ship gets like blown up.
Yeah.
That one's really cool. Especially like the like little beads that they put in her hair are really neat. I like the way that a lot of her like Queen Amidala outfits are inspired by like Asian culture and like the big headdresses and she's got a lot of cool outfits. Do I have a favorite? Hmm, probably the velvet burgundy one from Phantom Menace when she's like shooting at all the battle droids from like behind the pillars. Super cool.
Yeah, that is a good outfit. I think my favorite is I forget what it's called, but it's like very flowy. A lot of people like cosplay in it, and it has like the different colors, and it's like a very flowy dress.
Is it the like festival Padme from the end of Phantom Menace? The
It
pink
might.
one.
I don't know. I'll have to look into it now. But I've like a lot of people I've seen like wear it when they go to like comic
Oh, lake
conventions.
dress.
The lake dress. That
Yeah,
one.
from
I like
Attack of the
that one.
Clones. Yes, that's a nice one. I agree. Why didn't that one didn't even cross my mind just now? But no, but that one's also very pretty. I follow this dressmaker that recently recreated it, but she
Mm-hmm.
sewed the dye herself. And the way she created that ombre effect, like first she dyed everything kind of yellow, and
Mm-hmm.
then she hung everything out to dry, and then sprayed it with like the pink and the purple. And then the spraying did like the ombre effect. and it turned out so beautiful. So talented. I wish I had like an ounce of that kind of talent. It's amazing what people can do.
Yeah, yes, it is. I wish I was like that great at cosplaying and like doing all that stuff and like being crafty in that way because
I
I'm
mean,
not.
you're great at, I mean, 3D printing. You 3D printed like my Rebels
Yeah,
mural, which looks amazing. You should do more of that because it turned out so good.
thank you. Yeah, 3D printing is cool. Well, I guess like maybe like making apparel, like the dresses and the outfits and stuff like that. That I kind of struggle with. I feel like the props and things
Me
like that, I
too.
could kind of like get under my belt a little bit, but I do like doing them. I just being a perfectionist, it's very hard. I struggle because then
Yeah.
like you want things to be weathered, but then you're like, I like how pristine it looks. And I'm like, it needs to have a weathered look. So I always have
Yeah.
like internal like turmoil about that. So
I
it's
feel that.
it's
I
tough.
feel that. I like the idea of sewing, but in practice, I find it very frustrating. Like Tony from Star Wars did a Star Wars, not Star, Halloween,
Mhm.
Halloween stream like 2 years ago, and he
Yeah.
was like, everyone come dressed up, and I thought it would be really cool to do, like the Queen Amidala outfit with the black hood and the red ears and the feathers.
Hmm.
And so I did it, and it turned out looking pretty good or surprisingly good. But the process was infuriating. I almost lost my mind like 6 different times because, like, you pass it through the machine and it's too much fabric, and the machine goes crazy and it makes all these little knots in the fabric, and you're just like, why don't you work? So it was a very frustrating process. I don't know if I would like be able to do that again, but I like the idea of
Yes.
sewing, you know?
In retrospect, it's a good concept. Can I do it stress free? Probably not.
No,
So,
definitely not. You're like,
but
oh, this is gonna be so fun, and then
yeah,
you have to deal with an actual sewing machine, and it's terrible.
yeah, it is very tough, unfortunately. Um, but speaking of Skeleton Crew, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to talk about it. What are your thoughts so far
Yeah.
on this new series?
Yeah, so I just watched yesterday episodes 5 and 6
Okay.
because yeah, we last week was Christmas, so
Mhm.
I didn't do like a post episode discussion, but like I knew I wanted them to watch them back to back as like one large episode, and I'm so glad I did because I feel like the ending of them are just like like you just want to see what happens next. Like I almost wish I could watch the whole thing from start to finish, like just one long day, because you just want to know what happens next. But I have been so pleasantly surprised by Skeleton Crew. It has been so, so fun and not at all what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I had high expectations for it because I just thought I always want like Disney shows, like I want them to do well. Like anything Star Wars, I want to be successful. So I did have high hopes for it, and I feel like I even though had high hopes for it, like I have been pleasantly surprised by it so far. Like I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's going to be a kids show, this and that, blah blah blah." I don't really think, I mean, yes, like obviously the main stars of it are younger adults, but or younger kids. I don't even really know how old they are. But like I don't think it's a kids show by any means, and I think that they do phenomenal acting. I'm really liking the storyline. Like I feel like we get some like we have questions, then we get some answers, but then because we have answers now there's more questions, and like they just do a good job like keeping the pace. Like I think the pacing of the show is phenomenal. Like I'm just really enjoying it. I feel like it's like such a
Yeah.
good show.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And like I guess before this we had Acolyte, and there were parts of Acolytes that I enjoyed, and parts of Acolyte that really didn't suit my personality in terms of just how sad and how much death there was. But I remember after the first 2 episodes, I had a lot of questions, but it was more like a sense of confusion. Like I
Hmm.
just remember feeling really confused at the end of like the beginning of Acolyte. But at the end of like Skeleton Crew, I had a lot of questions, but it was more like I felt intrigued. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like it's almost like the beginning of like kind of like tugging at a string, and you're like, this is interesting. Whereas with Acolyte, I felt like I had more of like tangles. I'm like, I'm confused about these twins, and why did they stop talking, and why don't they like know each other still is like alive? And it was just like a sense of like confusion. And like I said, there are parts of Acolyte that I enjoyed. I'm not an Acolyte hater by any means. I thought it had some fun elements. but Skeleton Crew has just been so light and fun and adventurous, and that fits my personality more personally. And I was also a little bit worried it was going to feel very like kiddish and like, we're adults. So I was like, is this really going to be like fun and like for me? And it has been so fun. So I'm excited. I think we have like 2 episodes left.
Yeah, I think there's 8 total. So yeah, two left.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
did you enjoy 6? 6 was so good.
I did. I mean, so far, I've been a fan of every episode. I think some are better than others, I will say.
Yeah.
But I did really like the episode from, what was it, episode 6. But I felt like there was a lot of like really good teaching points and like values that the kids are kind of faced with. And like for Fern, like Fern, for example, like she's very much like she has been like it's my way or the highway kind of
Hmm.
situation. Like we're gonna do this. This is the only way that it can be done. And I think in this episode, like this past episode, she kind of really realized like there are other ways to do things, and just because I think it's the correct way doesn't mean it is. And not everyone can do what I can do. And I think that that was a big thing for KB, which I'm glad she finally got her spotlight. But it was cool for her to like finally, admit, like, hey, I am different. I am not like you, Fern. Like, there are things I can do and things that I can't do. And I think her standing up to Fern kind of really made her realize, like, I need to consider what other people think, and maybe now going forward like they'll be more of a team, because I think it took them splitting up in this past episode to really kind of come back together and realize they need to work together to be more successful. So I think overall it was a really great episode, but I thought the morals and like the underlying lessons were like super important.
Yeah, I agree. They're coming out of this like a stronger, better team. Fern's,
100%.
been a great leader, but now she's learning to be like a leader that listens
Hmm.
and like, looks to her other teammates for like their expertise and their strengths, but while also respecting their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because KB isn't a carbon copy of Fern. She has, weaknesses that Fern doesn't have, but she also has strengths that Fern doesn't have. She's got like a computer for her brain, which is like kind of amazing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's been really fun seeing this like coming of age story where these kids are like you see them becoming a little bit more adult by the end of it. So yeah, it's been so fun. I don't know, and I just love the pirate theme. I don't know. This
Yes.
last year I got really into pirates, like with Lorcana. It's
Hmm.
all about the pirate cards and my pirate deck, and with Skeleton Crew, it's been super fun as well. I wasn't a huge fan of the pirate theme in Mandalorian season 3, and I think that's what kind of set my expectations kind of low for Skeleton Crew because it seemed kind of out of
Yeah.
place and kind of random, just kind of thrown in there with the Mandalorian. But and so that's why going into Skeleton Crew, I was like, oh, it's just gonna be more of that. It's gonna be kind of weird. I wasn't really a fan of it. But existing in its own universe, in its own like show, it works really well with like the like the sea shanty that we got of the legend of like Captain, what was his name? Fenner? Fennec? I don't remember.
Something like
But
that.
the captain guy, the sea
Hmm.
shanty, and like the legend of the onyx cinder and the treasure, the eternal treasure on Atten, it just works really well, like on its own, like separate of like the rest of the Star Wars shows. So it's been so fun.
It is. It's definitely been like I look forward to my Tuesdays now. Like my Tuesday
Hmm.
nights have been like something that I really look forward to. But I would be interested to see how it's interconnected to like Star Wars as a whole. Like I wonder
Hmm.
if we'll get like a cameo or there will be like a future connection made, because I thought this was supposed to be like around the same time as like the Mando verse. Like they're supposed to
Hmm.
be like kind of coexisting, but so far, and I'm not complaining by any means because I love new characters and new stories and stuff, so it's been cool to like get that. But I'm then kind of wondering, like, is this going to play into a different story going forward? Are these kids going to appear in the Mando movie? Like, where is this like kind of going? Because it's cool like as an individual story, but I feel like Star Wars has a good kind of grasp on the interconnectedness. So I'm wondering where this is going to play into that.
Yeah, I kind of hope they do what they did with Mando, where like Luke wasn't really a part of it until like the end of season 2, right?
Hmm.
So it kind of got to be its own thing for a little while, and I kind of hope Skeleton Crew does the same. Like before they introduce Hondo Onaka, or potentially Cal Kestis, or whoever else they could weave into the story. I kind of hope season one is kind of allowed to be its own thing, without any like huge cameos, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm kind of hoping that they do that, that they mix it in with other stuff, but not until a little bit later, you know.
Hmm.
Because I
Yeah.
don't think it needs it. You know, I think we can finish out season one without seeing anyone else that we know in the Star Wars universe, and it's still going to be a great season. You know, it's not going to depend on like the one cameo everyone's hoping for. So I think it stands on its own really well.
Oh, 100%. It definitely stands on its own. But I wouldn't mind if there were like, I don't want to see like Luke Skywalker or like anything like that. Like, I don't want a major cameo, but I wouldn't mind like a minor cameo, like maybe some of the other pirates, like maybe Fee from Bad Batch. A lot of people have brought
Mm.
up like Maz.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, but I don't know, like maybe seeing like some of the other pirate treasure hunters like getting in on the action, or maybe even some of like the bounty hunters. I think that could be cool. So like maybe minor
Mhm.
cameos, and maybe that's how it'll play in, is that'll be the interconnectedness. But I think so far it
Yeah.
stands alone very well, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that in season two, if there's going to be a season two, I think there will be a season two. So maybe once we get to that point, like maybe there'll be more to it.
Yeah. I
But
agree. Yeah.
we'll
And
see.
the cuteness
Oh,
factor is there
it
with
is
Neil.
definitely,
He's so
yes.
cute. But it's not in an overdone way, at least not yet. Like sometimes Grogu moments feel a little bit overdone. Like, okay, yes, we know he's cute, you know, we know he's small, but like with Neil, it's like new and fresh. So hopefully they don't like overdo it to the point where it gets like obnoxious. We'll see, I guess.
We'll have to wait and see. Because Grogu, I don't think was that way. Like at least for the first season of Mando, and then after,
Yeah.
like it kind of took off. Like they were like, oh,
Yeah.
like that's the guy that everyone loves. Like we got to do so much stuff with him. So I think Neil is definitely like Grogu to the Mandalorian as what Neil is to Skeleton Crew so far, but they're different. But I think the cuteness like factor is very similar. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping they don't overdo it, but I
I
do
hope
love
not.
Neil so far, so I
Yeah.
don't really mind.
He's great, you know, but I don't need to see a million and one like Neil merchandise items. I really hope they don't overdo it because
I
it
don't need
just
30 Neil pops, thank you.
no, oh my gosh, no, it got to be too much. Like ugh, you're just over like merchandising this character to the point where it's like annoying, you know? Like he was cool until you like really like shoved him in her face how like cute and stuff he is, and now he's just not that. Now he's just not that cute anymore. So hopefully they don't make the same mistake with Neil. Like he's cool as a character. We can have the one Funko Pop and the one stuffed animal, but that's it. Like please don't overdo it.
I'm hoping maybe they're like learning from their mistakes with Grogu, and that they won't overdo it. But I guess time will tell. Time will tell.
Yes, time will reveal. Guess we'll see.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're also enjoying Skeleton Crew, because I have also been enjoying it. And you did send me some pictures of your collection. So I
Yeah,
will pull those up and we can take a look at those.
I took these today.
So this is pretty much kind of what we see behind you. You got some
Mhm.
pops, some lounge flies. Tell me about like the inspiration for your display. Like what do you have going on here?
Yeah, so I'm in a bit of a tighter space now than I was compared to when I first kind of did this setup I was living with my mom and dad last year and I had my office studio space set up in like one of the rooms that they lent me that was bigger. So I've kind of had to, you know, condense everything down. I'm hoping the next place we're at, if I can like kind of take over the living room, I'm hoping to spread things out a bit more. But the original idea was to have a timeline of like scenes from my Funko Pops. Right now at the top, it's kind of just like all of my animated show Funko Pops. You can see like Clone Wars, Bad Batch, well, some Kenobi stuff, you know, doesn't really fit in with the animated stuff. But again, don't have a spot for everything right now, so things are just kind of like mushed together. And then we got Rebels Pops there at the end. And then we go into the prequels shelf below that, which I'm really hoping we get more prequel stuff so that I can have like fill that in a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And then below that, the original trilogy shelf, and then below that is another original trilogy shelf. You can see like the very last one there is Force Ghost, Anakin and Obi-Wan and Yoda. So that was the original intent, and it still kind of is that. But I'm hoping to have kind of more. I don't know. I'm hoping to have it a little bit more built out when we move. And at the very top, I have the scene backpack for every movie. They didn't all make it into this picture, but hopefully, if I can do like a room tour soon, they'll be more visible. But I have like the backpack for each movie and the wallet and some Funko Pops that kind of go with that movie. The only one that's not on there right now is Empire Strikes Back because I haven't hung it up yet, but I do have the backpack. And then I love Loungefly bags, as you know, so you can see like my Loungefly
Hmm.
collection. That's not all of it, but that's what made it into the picture.
Yes, I love the lounge flies, and I like when you can kind of like style your outfit around your bag. Love
Yeah, it
that.
is. It's so fun. I've worn some of these, like the Grievous one I wore. Pretty sure I wore C3PO ones. You can usually tell because the straps are like loose on the ones
Hmm.
I've worn. They don't have
Yep.
like the thing holding the straps anymore. I've worn the Leia, and I had my husband wear the Han bag. That's like a fun like little couples
Hmm.
couples lounge fly duo. But yeah, they're fun. I get stressed out because I'm like, oh, they're gonna start to like look worn down and scuffed, But sometimes that works out. It's Star Wars, Things are weathered. It's gonna happen, and it's just gonna show that you went to the park and you had fun in your lounge fly bag, and not everything's gonna stay in perfect condition. But yeah, it's fun breaking out a new bag.
Yeah. That's why I had to like kind of think to myself. I was like, am I just collecting these for looks or am I collecting them because I want to be able to like go to places and like have that kind of like bag cuz I always wear like a lounge fly when I go to like the conventions and stuff. Like I feel like it's
Hmm.
perfect. Like I can keep my charger, like, everything that I need. Like they're just small enough to fit everything. But then they
Hmm.
also kind of are like a fashion piece. So I
Hmm.
have come to the realization that like I need to wear them and have them out and do stuff with them and I can put them on the shelf like once I'm done with them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't wear one every single day, but like for parks and conventions,
Oh
or
yeah.
I went or going to see like movie theater releases. Like this year, we got Phantom Menace in theaters, so I
Hmm.
wore like my naked C3PO backpack, and that's just it's fun. It just marks
Yeah.
the occasion and makes it special.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I wear them like when I do the conventions or like more Star Wars related stuff. I don't do like the everyday. I know there are some people that do, but I do like to just like I break them out for special occasions.
Yeah.
Special Star Wars occasions.
Yeah, I have non-Star Wars bags that I wear. Like I have Lord of the Rings, I have some
Oh, okay.
Disney bags, and those are fun because you'll wear them to Target and they're great like conversation starters. People be like, "Oh my gosh, like I love, what's his name from Lord of the Rings? Frodo. I love your Frodo bag." And you'll be like, "Oh, thank you." And it's fun. But yeah, I try to save my Star Wars ones for special things.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll bust a few out for Japan. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. For
We'll
sure.
see.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how you have your display on the top, it seems. Where are those like stands
Yes.
from?
The little clear ones for the wallets.
Hmm.
I got those on Amazon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you just type in like acrylic, like business card stand, they'll pop up. So I just kind of use them to prop up my wallet so you can see the picture on them. But yeah, they started putting out these bags. I think this was like a last year thing. For every movie, they had like a backpack, and every panel of the bag had like a different scene. And I thought those were really fun. So I got them for every single movie, and I got the wallet. And so that's my top shelf. So here you have like Return of the Jedi as an example.
Nice. And then you got some like Funko Pops to kind of match the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I was like, I need more shelf space for my Funko Pops, and so this was a great way to do that. Like, oh, I'll just take these two out. Now they're at the top, and it looks
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. You gotta get creative with displaying.
You do, yeah. Oh my gosh, I had this really cool shelf that's from IKEA. Everyone's seen it by now because it's just like a staple IKEA item. It's like the one that is like mostly for like sneaker display. It's
Hmm.
like a lot of like little shelves and you hang it up. And I loved it because I could put like I had all of my TV series, like my Obi-Wan Kenobi pops, my like Andor pops, my Rogue One pops, like just like the more like niche stuff that wasn't gonna go on the main shelf kind of had its own little shelf in that like little IKEA stand. And I don't have room for it in my current studio. And it's at my parents' house, not being utilized. And so I'm like, I really hope it fits into like the next place because I would love to bring that back and have my like Rogue One and Solo pops just
Mm-hmm.
out, and my Mando pops. I like they had their own little shelf too. So yeah, yeah, hoping to bring that back next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. When you kind of have like an assortment of things, I see like a Cal Kestis. You got, I think that's his lightsaber.
Yes. Yep, that's his lightsaber and the holocron there and the two the cowl and the Marin Funko Pops. That's my Fallen Order shelf, and we got Vader there because of surprise cameos.
Yep.
Yeah, love Fallen Order. Really got into it when I started playing the game a couple years ago. I was a little late to the game, maybe by like a year or two, but super fun. And then I played Jedi Survivor when it came out fresh. And I got my brick heads there at the top. I've really been enjoying the Lego brick heads, so that's my prequels brick heads collection. And then I've got my Funko sodas there, which is something I've considered cutting out of my collection. Like I'm not sure I need to continue going down the Funko soda route. So that's I've been toying with the idea of selling those on eBay. Obviously not the I would keep like the ones I really like the Amidala one. But yeah, I might sell the others. We'll see.
Wait and see. Yeah, I love the brickheads. I'm a huge brickheads collector, and someone actually brought it up
Mm.
to me that that is like Lego's version of a Funko Pop. And ever
Yeah.
since then, it's just like clicked in my brain as to why I like them so much. But I love the brickheads, and I think they do like such a great job with like the sculpts on them.
Yeah, and they're fun to build too. And
100%.
you get to like hold it up like I made this, like you just assembled it, but like you feel like you made it, and
Yeah.
it's fun. And because I've been doing more brickheads, that's like I don't know, you introduce something to the collection, you're like maybe I don't need this old thing. So because I've been doing more brickheads, I'm like maybe I don't need the Funko sodas. So yeah, you kind of have to like pick and choose as you go. And then those little that Anakin and Obi-Wan there, those are called, oh my gosh, I already forgot. They're from Hallmark, but that could be like its own separate collection as well. What are those called? Now I forgot. But they're so cute. They have tons of characters of them. And I
Hmm.
only have those two because again, you kind of have to pick and choose. But those are really cool.
I forget what they're
Um,
called, but I've seen them around, and they definitely have like quite a few characters, like Star Wars
yeah,
characters. But I don't. I
oh, I found it. Itty Bitty. So those
it,
are itty, yes, from Hallmark. And if you go online now, they have tons of them. Oh, they got a Force Ghost. Oh my gosh, they got Force Ghost, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda in the glow in the dark. That's
Ooh.
so cute. But yeah, check those out. Those are fun too. They're like little plushes.
Yeah, they are very cute. All
Yeah. I
right.
like that they stand up too. You can kind of like prop them up.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, hang on, I've got them. Hang on.
Like, are they kind of like weighted at the bottom?
A little bit. Yeah, they've got a little bit
Yeah.
of
Okay.
sand, a little bit of beading there at the bottom. But
Oh,
yeah, they're
he's so
fun. I love that
cute.
they gave Anakin like the scar on his eye. It's just, I think they're so funny.
They are. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, and they are slightly like weighted at the bottom so you can stand them up. They're cute. I want to get more of them, but again, it's like with what room? Where are they gonna go?
Yep, just another thing to add to the collection.
Yeah,
Yep, I
exactly.
feel the same way, unfortunately. And then you kind of have like an Ahsoka dedicated area,
Yeah, I
perhaps.
do. I've got a little wall for my Ahsoka stuff. Not everything made it into this picture, but I've got the Ahsoka bag. That's from her universe. That's Ashley Eckstein's store, and they sell a lot of really cool Star Wars stuff, but also like non-Star Wars, just a lot of fandom clothing and merchandise. Got my Captain Rex Lego helmet, my Ahsoka briquettes. That little Ahsoka there at the end is from like some kind of board game. I picked that up. It was like a loose
Mm,
figure that I got for like $1 at a toy show.
nice.
Yeah, below that, I forget what those are called. The
The fake
pins.
pins.
Yes, fig pin, thank you. I've got maybe 6 fig pins. But that's another kind of collection that I've, you know, tried really hard not to dive into. So it's just limited to Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Anakin there. I've got a signed Rebels Ahsoka Funko Pop in a hard case that my brother got me for Christmas a couple years ago.
Wow.
It was actually his. So he got it because he was like one of the first people to like order that from, I think it was Box Lunch. No, Hot Topic. It was a Hot Topic exclusive. And if you were like one of the first 50 or 100, I can't remember what he said it was, you got an autographed one. Back when stores used to do cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't really do like cool Funko stuff like that. Like we hardly ever even get chases now. But
Yep.
anyway, that's a whole separate story. But back when they did fun stuff like that, you could get an autograph, and so he had that, and he gave it to me for Christmas because he's like, I think you would like this more. And then I've got the Ahsoka. That's another thing that Disney does now. What are those called? The little plushies. I forget. Everything has a name, and I can't keep track of it. But that's the only one I have for Star Wars is the little Ahsoka. Oh, it's a new emo.
Huh. I
Yeah,
haven't heard of
my
those.
Yeah, so they're cute because you can buy like little outfits for them. So I
Hmm.
got, I can't remember if that one came with that dress. But yeah, if you wanted, you could change out her dress. They had like a ton of like Star Wars outfits at one point, like a little R2D2 jacket that you could throw on, and yeah, really cute. A lot of accessories for those, but I don't have a ton of them. I just have that one and then some Disney ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like to have my categories, as you can tell, like my
Oh,
designated areas.
100%. I'm with you. I'm with you. And then you have a very Padme dedicated area.
Yeah, so that's my Panakin wall. You can see where it's like next to
Yeah.
my Ahsoka, my little Ahsoka wall. So those are just some framed prints, some like figures. I've got two Padme Loungefly bags on there. One of them, which is now worth like, I think it goes for like $700 on eBay, which is crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
the one on the bottom, it was like limited
Yeah.
1,000, and they sold out super fast, and I was able to get one, and now I don't think I'll ever wear it, even though it would be a really cool backpack for Japan. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wear it because I'll just be stressed out about it getting dirty. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a $700 bag now, even though I only paid 90 for it. But yeah, and then I've got my Panakin pin board where I buy like little. A lot of them are from Etsy. I buy like little Padme pins and got that assortment there.
Those ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so these are just like different creators that make like pins. So this is my collection. A lot of these are like the little chibi ones. Those are from Mama Whale Pins on Etsy. And she made like pins of her in like every outfit. And I don't even have every single one, but you can just see there's like so many of them.
Hmm. Yeah, she definitely has a wardrobe. So,
More so than anyone else in the
yeah.
whole franchise. It's kind of crazy. Like sometimes, like even like the same scene within the same day, she'll get like an extra outfit. I'm like, what? Why? Like on Tatooine, she has like this unnecessary like wardrobe change. Like, why did you change an outfit just then? That didn't make sense. And who was there to do your hair even? Like, it's like beyond logic and reason, but it's okay. It's still really fun that we got this many like Padme outfits.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are definitely some cool pins. I like those a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, that's my pin board. And what else? Yeah, just like prints and bags and stuff. Just like to have my Anakin stuff separate. Oh, and then the print that I got from Patrick. So,
Hmm.
Patrick, who you do your podcast, what's your guys' Funko Pop
The
podcast?
Popcast.
Yes, the Popcast. Yeah, so he's your co-host on that, and he sent some of us in our shared group chat these like prints that he's done of like his Funko Pop photography. So I've got that in there, of course, because I love that Senator Padme print. It's so fun.
It is. It is really cool. He made me some Ahsoka ones. I'm still trying to like
Mm.
figure out where I want to put like all my art, but I know that they will need to have a place on my wall somewhere. I just gotta figure
Yeah,
it out. So
just
work in
do a
progress.
collage of stuff like
Yeah,
I do. You got bags, you got Lego, you got pops, you got new emo prints. It all goes together, if it's in the same, if it's for one character, for sure. Like it
oh yeah,
looks good together if you mix and match.
100%. And it looks like your Anakin pop is signed.
It is, yes. Oh, thank you for noticing. I did get that one signed personally. That's the only like autograph that I've actually gotten where like I was there to meet the person and gave them something, had them sign it. Because
Wow.
the Ahsoka one, like I said, was a gift and it was just from a store. But yeah, that's from when I met Hayden at MegaCon.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the
Awesome.
best.
He really is. He's so good. Love him.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
nice, such a nice guy, and the best Anakin. Like the prequels would not be what they are if it weren't for him. So huge props to him for being such a big part of our childhoods for sure.
100%. Definitely probably like my favorite character. He's such a great actor. Like as a person, he's great. Like I think all around, he's just a well-rounded person. So I
Yes,
definitely
awesome.
love him.
Yeah, and I love that we're getting more of him lately with some of the
Yes,
newer shows.
100%, and it's well deserved. So would love to see him make an appearance on Ahsoka season 2, maybe
Yes.
even in some other things. But fingers crossed. I would love to see like maybe like Natalie Portman and him do something like a flashback together. I think that would be cool. But I guess again, we'll
Yeah.
just have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so those are all the pictures that you sent me. So, my final two questions before we wrap up. The second to last one is, what is your favorite piece in your collection?
Ooh, okay, that's easy. My signed Hayden Funko Pop that
Oh,
we were just talking about.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably just like my most prized item, I think, in my whole collection. I mean, I've got a lot of cool stuff that I love, but I mean, that's just attached to such a cool memory where I got to like see him in the flesh and like meet him for the first time, and it was just like a dream come true for like my inner childhood self, you know? Because it's like, I don't know, you watch these movies as a kid and you are just a huge fan of them, but you never think that, like, oh, I'm going to meet him when I'm older and he's going to sign, my Funko Pop, you know? Like, you never
Mhm.
think that. And so it's just so surreal when it happened. Like, it was just so crazy and awesome. So I would say that's my favorite.
Gotcha. Okay, that was probably the quickest answer that I've ever gotten when I asked that question because
Well, it
usually
was,
it's hard,
yeah.
but that's yeah, it meeting him I feel like was quite unreal because I got to do the photo op with him and like it was definitely brief, but it was just like crazy to be like literally like next to him.
I
Like
know.
it was just I never would have thought like in a million years that that would be like an opportunity that I would have and I got to
Yeah.
do it and it's still like so surreal.
Me neither. And I don't know why, because people like meet people and have stuff signed and do stuff like that all the time. But I don't know, it never crossed my mind as like a thing that I would do. And also, I think he wasn't in the convention sphere as much for a while, as much as he is now. Now that like a lot of his fans are older,
Hmm.
and he's getting a lot more love, well-deserved love. But I don't know why it never occurred to me either as like a thing I would get to do. So when I did it and I signed up for it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it! I'm gonna meet Hayden, and I still haven't done a photo op with him, even though I'd like to. But I was like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can stand that close to him. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be emotional as an experience, like from across the table, let alone like, oh, he like puts his arm around you and then you take a picture. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but maybe someday we'll see.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, I definitely I want to do an autograph I think next, but I feel like going forward if he's ever like at a con, like I would do a photo op or like an autograph with him because I feel like that experience was like crazy and I know Tony is like best friends with him now and I would like to at some point become best friends with Hayden, so we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I want to do a photo op too. I'd also love to do an Ewan McGregor photo op because I love
Yes.
Obi-Wan as well. But yeah, it's so cool that we get to do stuff like that, and it's nice of them. Obviously, they make a lot of money from it, but it's nice of them to engage with the fans and to be as present as he is at those events. Even though he met like 800 other people the same day he met me, but he still took the time to like look me in the eye and smile and
Hmm.
sign my thing and say thanks for coming out. Like he's just such a nice guy, and it was so fun, so
Yeah.
so fun. So that's my favorite thing because it reminds me of that day, and it's the best.
No, 100%. It makes sense. I get it. And my last question is, since this is a collecting based podcast, if you could give any piece of advice to other collectors out there, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. It'd probably be kind of the advice I would give to myself. Like, I tend to be very like completionist. Like, okay, if you have a Funko soda, you have to have every one, and if you have to complete the thing. And as I've gotten more and more into like collecting, I've kind of gotten away from that intentionally. Like, at the end of the day, your collection's for you and not for anyone else. Like if you're not doing this for you, like who are you doing it for? So
Hmm.
it's like sometimes it's gonna be a hodgepodge of stuff, and that can be really fun too. And not everything needs to be, you don't have to have everyone in the wave, and you can mix and match from like different collections. So yeah, I would probably give that advice because it took me, I think, a while to get there, and it's like you don't need every fig pin, and you don't need every itty bitty, and you don't need every big brick heads. Sometimes you just you collect what you like, and then who cares if you're missing some of the stuff. But it can be tough because like I don't know, there's a certain pride in like, oh, I completed this collection, but it's like, okay, so what? Like you wanna
Yeah,
you
now
wanna
what?
yeah, you want a medal for having completed, like nobody cares. So at the end of the day, just like collect what you like and what you want, and sparingly because you run out of space real fast.
Yes, that is true. That is some very good advice. So, but I think that was all that I had for today. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about before we jumped off?
It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Really glad we got to talk about Skeleton Crew because that's like the current thing right now. But no, I think that's it. I'm looking forward to teaching you how to play Star Wars Unlimited. I think you're gonna really like it.
I'm sure I will, but I appreciate you coming on. And before we jump off, could you let people know once again where they can find you and if you have anything upcoming that you want people to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I mean, Padawan Chronicles on YouTube. I'll make sure to comment on this interview as soon as it comes out, so that I'm just kind of there, like, say hi to everyone that's watched it. Looking forward to seeing the comments, and do make sure you like this video for Jedi Lex. She is awesome, and she puts a lot of work into her channel and interviewing all of her guests and talking to people about collections and doing the podcast with Christopher and Patrick. So make sure you drop that like for her. And yeah, it was really fun, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was truly a pleasure. And I will put all of your links down in the description. So definitely go check out her channel, give her a sub and some likes and all the good stuff. But again, I appreciate you coming on. Definitely a great time. So thank
Yeah,
you.
of course, this was
And
so fun.
yeah, and I will see everybody in the next video.